Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Absolute liars. These far-left propagandists on Twitter will stop at nothing to mislead their audience and continue to perpetuate this absolute hoax of the right-wing extremists being the greatest threat to America. It's honestly crazy. I don't know how they get away with this level of blatant misinformation. They just flat out lie and get away with it. And worst of all, not only do they get away with it, but it's become the mainstream narrative that mainstream news outlets are running with, and it's even become the narrative that the Biden administration pushes, as well as the CIA and the FBI and the DOJ. It's all based on a lie. It's all based on a hoax, as the media and government continues to go after right-wingers, while Antifa, the main perpetrator, gets a free pass. So if you guys aren't aware, the Proud Boys had a rally in Portland just the other day. Guess what happened? They were assaulted, terrorized, explosive devices were thrown at them, of course from Antifa, and now left-wingers and mainstream reporters are pushing a completely false narrative on Twitter that Antifa did absolutely nothing wrong and the terrible Proud Boys just went around mindlessly attacking and assaulting people. I mean, to leave out this context, to be so partisan in your reporting, and to put out such damaging information as you literally play defense for the domestic terrorist organization that is Antifa, is borderline criminal. Yet they all do it, and they all get away with it, and we are going to debunk it. But before we get into any of it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We're still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. And with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. Alright guys, so first off, what's the narrative that the left is pushing? We've got this from Vice News. Proud Boys' Summer of Love rally ended in blood, beatings, and gunfire. They claim that a coalition of heavily armed groups, including the Proud Boys, rallied for a Summer of Love event in Portland, Oregon, Sunday. The event had been advertised online with a colorful, hippie-esque flyer promising patriots spreading love, not hate. A completely slanted framing. Heavily armed groups, including the Proud Boys. Who do you think the heavily armed group was? Of course, it was Antifa. 4 Antifa members in black bloc walking down the Portland waterfront park. 2 armed, one carrying an SKS, and the other an AR-15. I caught these 2 at a distance, won't pursue them for better photos as I'm with my family. Oh, the evil Proud Boys are armed. Give me a break. Amy Siskin then retweets that piece, asking again, why haven't the Proud Boys been formally classified as a domestic terrorist group yet? That's what they are. George Takei writes, Portland police, when you show up in force for Black Lives Matter protests, but decline to show up for the Proud Boys riots, you are not being neutral. You are taking sides. We see you. So Black Lives Matter and Antifa throughout last summer were hurling Molotov cocktails, beating people up, even in one case, an outright political homicide. Police showed up and that was unfair treatment. Proud Boys merely exist and wanted to have a love not hate rally, and that's supposed to be treated as some sort of domestic terrorist threat? Absolute loonies, and you'll see it's gonna get even worse. The Proud Boys and other far-right hate groups brought violence, hatred, and fear to Portland this weekend. They are neither invited nor welcome here. This is an issue of domestic terrorism. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Proud Boys are not welcome here. They came to Portland this weekend to terrorize our community with violence. This is domestic terrorism and it must stop. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler claimed the police response to political violence Sunday was a success. People who live in the neighborhood terrorized by Proud Boys disagree. And so the idea that they're portraying here is that the Proud Boys came in with the intent of violence and were the instigators, the agitators, and were on an offensive, which of course couldn't be further from the truth. Here's the truth, thanks to Andy Ngo. Breaking. Drone footage by Thomas Morales IV shows signs of armed Antifa occupation along Portland's waterfront. So what you see here, folks, is the first place where the Proud Boys were supposed to have their rally. A massive mob of Antifa thugs, some of which who were armed with SKSs and AR-15s, as was reported earlier, showed up to, quote, bash the fash, of course, like they always do. The Proud Boys then had to relocate their rally because they were under threat of assault and attack by none other than, of course, Antifa. Here's the truth.
I won't even condemn the fact they flipped the van, because what are you trying to do? Why are you coming down here? Change locations so you would leave us alone. We're done running away. We have no other option but to stand up for ourselves. If we keep running away, there'll be nowhere for us to speak freely. There'll be nowhere for us to exercise the constitutional rights, the First Amendment, to express yourself. You have to be able to express yourself politically, culturally, all of it. If you can't do it, this is a communist country. We're gonna fight communism. That's what this is. Ted Wheeler keeps lying, keeps saying that we're the problem. We're not hunting down Antifa. They come here, they start a fight, they lose, and now they're trying to come back again.
We changed locations so that you would leave us alone. We're done running away. Folks, this is full-on misinformation from the left. They're claiming that Proud Boys were not acting defensive, but rather were just trying to assault people and terrorizing a community. They planned a rally and then had to change the location of the rally because they didn't want a confrontation. They were trying to avoid it, but Antifa brought it to them. If it wasn't going to be at the Portland waterfront, it was going to be at the Kmart where they planned their new rally. If you are merely existing and then someone comes up to you and is harassing you, threatening you with violence, assaulting you, and you leave, move away to try to not escalate the situation, but get away from it, and then they continue to harass you and follow you, are you the instigator? It's the classic far-left militant disinformation on Twitter. Right-wingers set up a peaceful event. Left-wingers come and assault people, then snap pictures and record videos of right-wingers defending themselves against a, quote, counter-protest, which is really just harassment, and then claim that the right-wingers are so terribly racist and violent. The right-wing extremists that are, quote, terrorizing the community. They punch you in the face and then tell you to stop punching yourself. Here's that same individual from the testimony earlier. They're clearly trying to have a peaceful rally. Antifa shows up and throws explosive devices.
These folks are already trying to attack me! I did nothing to them! I've never put my hands on Antifa! I've never said anything threatening to them!
Mic check.
People, Antifa, all of you! I'm tired of getting attacked!
Hey guys! It out.
And here's where left-wing misinformation gets completely out of hand. Right-wing Cope, which is a left-wing Twitter user who's constantly trying to smear the right, tweets a video of Proud Boys flipping over a van, a quote, handicap van in Portland. A roaming mob of Proud Boys destroyed, looted, and flipped the handicap van in Portland. Oh, it's a roaming group of Proud Boy thugs who are just destroying and looting things. Such an overt lie. Straight up spreading misinformation. A lot of the responses in the comment section are, so because the van helps transport disabled people, and the act of being helpful is a socialist sin, it was deemed a socialist van, which then needed to be destroyed, of course. People all over the comments section, oh my god, right-wing Proud Boys are attacking disabled people. However, the truth was, Andy No clears it up. This is disinformation. The van was filled with Antifa paramilitary members who drove 10 miles to the Proud Boys gathering from their downtown occupation. They were armed with pepper spray and explosives. The right-wing rioters returned to destroy the van after dozens of Antifa fled. Antifa was using a decommissioned van to transport disabled people to drive straight into the Proud Boys rally and lob those explosives that we saw earlier into them, lobbing fireworks and other explosive devices into their rally. It's so dishonest that even a left-winger was questioning the narrative. I'm not at all defending the fash here, but did the van attempt to run into them? Was it a decommissioned ambulance? I like your feed, but I want it to be accurate. If you want accurate information, the last people you should be following are far lefties on Twitter. Here's accurate information. A street preacher was just attacked by Antifa. If you want accurate information, the last people you should be trusting are far lefties on Twitter who are bending the truth in order to defend Antifa's actions, as clearly the attackers who even attacked a preacher, as you see here, and also attacked a photographer, as Andy No reports. Photographer Marini Ray was helped away after having been robbed and assaulted by Antifa at the riot in northeastern Portland. We even have this report right over here. Watch, Black mother confronts Antifa after her children were assaulted at a prayer gathering. Who is really terrorizing the community? Is it the Proud Boys who merely just want a place to exist, where they can speak freely and have their rallies? Or is it Antifa who constantly hunts them down, tracks them down, lobs explosives at them, attack them, drive a decommissioned van into their rally, assault preachers, assault children, and assault journalists? And they constantly do this over and over again. People who deliberately misinform and twist the truth and push this narrative based on political motive ought to be ashamed of themselves. But of course, they don't feel shame. They know exactly what they're doing. It's calculated and it's evil. Why would they stop? It's working. Vice News and other mainstream networks are pushing their narrative. Joe Biden, the DOJ, the CIA, the FBI are buying into the narrative as well. They essentially let Antifa do whatever they want as they continue this unfounded attack on right-wing groups. It's a dishonest, partisan narrative, and hopefully I've done enough in this video to highlight that. It's completely disgusting. That's what I got for you guys though. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe. I gotta get back to work though. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.